Hello, it's Siobhan, the Galloping Housewife. On my way to the yard again, going to stop and go for a walk on the way to, I have got my dog behind me, who you can just vaguely see over my left shoulder asleep in the boot, or lying down in the boot. He's a very, very easy traveller, and it's just actually really good to take anywhere. I am a great believer in foundation training for all pets, that they have some sort of stability, and Poe, being a poodle border collie cross, is they really have the trainability. The border collies obviously are working dogs, well known as both sheep and cattle dogs, and the poodles were also water dogs, retriever dogs, bred to be retrievers. I mean, most of them are fancy pets that live in cities with ridiculous haircuts now, but originally they were bred to be working dogs out in the land. Their coats being curly like they are repel the water and keep them warm. So there you go. You didn't know that, you do now. But anyway, yeah, Poe's a great dog. We started with him when got him as a puppy. One of the things about being an immigrant is that you're not allowed to adopt animals. So when our first dog, the dog that we brought over with us from New Zealand, was stolen, well, it took us a long time to decide to get another pet. And then when we did, we had to buy from a breeder, so we spent some time trying to find a reputable breeder, and actually selected a dog that would suit our family, as in be extremely active. My husband's a keen runner. We as a family tended to get outside. We haven't actually done for a while, but we used to walk most weekends, so we might have to start dragging the teenagers kicking and screaming again out for a walk. But yeah, and obviously I take him for a walk and take him to the yard, not as much as obviously in places that we've lived here where we've been on the yard, the dog has been with us all the time. But yeah, of late there's not many yards that will allow outside dogs to come on all the time. But anyway, Poe has come with me at various times, so he's been out with us, and he's just great because he's really active, but he's also got a complete off switch and is completely zoned out. And if I drove for 6 hours now, he would just stay there, wouldn't move. And then can be up and going for it whenever he feels like it, whenever he's called to. So it's quite cool. And he's quite civilized when we take him to the pub, which we haven't done for a while. But he will sit in a crowded room. He will, if we have people come over that are dog friendly, then he just goes to his bed and stays there. And if we're out and he's off the lead, and there's this instance where where there's people perhaps that don't like him, or another animal that might be distracted by him, I can get him to stop and sit and wait from 100 metres away or more, which is really useful tool to have. It's really safe and for all concerned, and it makes you feel good about being a dog owner, because there are so many people that, as you'll know, there's so many people that have horses that shouldn't as well, that don't know how to, or have horses that they shouldn't have. They might be suitable horse owners, but they have horses that are not well trained enough for them, or have temperaments that don't suit them. So it's the same with dogs. I mean, you see so many people that have dogs that are bullying them, and dogs that nip, and dogs that bark, and dogs that aren't good with children and things like that. And it's just, I don't think it's okay. Anyway, So that's my personal opinion, but you'll get a lot of them. Yeah, and on that horse note, you know, like I've got Mitch, as you know. So yesterday I went out and lunged him again, and he's like, it's really incredible that you know, in 24 hours with just a single day's work and a single day's you know, asking him to behave, that he was just so much better. But he still went out and he still tried it on a couple of times. So we did, I did a lot of in-hand work with him. I did a lot, and then just lunged him, but lunging him not just to tire him out, but to, like, I did millions of transitions, you know, because every time I asked for an upward transition, he would fuck off and buck, become this incredible kite. So it was just no. Yeah, every time he does that, no, that's the wrong answer. We'll try this again, and just keep going. And that's like so important when you're training horses, is to, it's they're not going to give you a perfect response every time, and you actually don't want them to, because you want them, they learn from trial and error, and if they never make an error, then they don't learn really what's right. So, you know, all these horses that, and he is a horse that's come through a lot of sales yards, I talked about it a bit before, where he's basically, you know, the training that has gone into him has been to get gear on him, get a person on him, screw his head down and kick him, really. And that's nothing against the people that have had him, and the yard, you know, the yards that he's come through. They're good yards and good people. But, you know, all they're wanting to do is show off a horse's talent. They're not, or natural ability. They're not there to train your horse. And, you know, people that buy young horses need to be fully aware of their background, and I go into that with my eyes wide open. You know, I know exactly what sort of training he's had, and don't expect them to be bomb-proof. I mean, he has got a really good temperament. He wants to be a good horse, but equally he will try it on. And if you've watched my page, actually I don't know whether I put it on the Galloping Housewife page, but I put it on my personal page. But he's got a excuse me, he has got a really good back in him. So really quite athletic, which is good, because that's what I want. But he just need to channel it. So yeah, so I lunged him a bit yesterday, lots of transitions, like I said, and just not, you know, like taking the adrenaline out. You know, he is a horse that he's quite sensitive, and although he is innately quiet, like I've never had a horse that, like, he will walk into a wheelbarrow in the aisleway and knock it out of the way and not even flinch, or, you know, great big trucks will come past his box, and he's just like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, he's not that sort of spooky, but he is a horse that in other ways is really quite sensitive, and yeah, he will pick and choose his moments, and he needs to learn how to deal with that adrenaline. So what I'm doing at the moment is teaching him not to run away from it. Yeah, just one of the methods I did a lot of work with Manu and Andrew McLean from AEBC, the equitation science guys, and they teach a thing called park, which is just it's basically just a stop, but it's, instead of having a horse with, when it hits something that it's afraid of or it's not sure about, instead of fucking off into the sunset and dumping you in the process, you can teach them that their response is just to stop, and to keep all 4 feet still and on the ground until the adrenaline goes, which is quite useful. Yeah, especially with a young horse, just to have that ability to park them. So yeah, did a bit of that. yeah, lunging in hand. I am going out there again today to do the same thing with him, and until he is out there and will do all the in-hand stuff and all the basic lunging stuff. You know, I'm just walk, trot, canter. I'm not doing anything flash, and just reasonably loose side reins, and it's just until he does all of that without adrenaline, then yeah, I'm not going to challenge it again. It's you know, and it's like we so often in life we push that next step, you know, whether it be at this stage, like I'm not going to challenge him again and get on him until he is doing the stuff that I wanted to do now in hand, and you know, on the lunge line without an incorrect response. You know, I'm not going to challenge his mind on top of that by getting on him. I don't believe that does anyone any favours, certainly not the horse, because we're going for long-term, you know, we're going for long-term improvement. Yeah, so yeah, did that with him, and I took Percy for a wee hack up the road, which was bloody hilarious because he hasn't been out of the box for well, he's been on the walker and stuff, but he hasn't done much for a little while. So yeah, and he was a little pocket rocket yesterday, but it was fun. It was nice to actually get out of the arena and, you know, get him to do something that's a little bit different. But we need to start getting fit because the event calendar was on in my inbox yesterday. So I have written them all down, and it's, yeah, there's actually the first one that was on my list as a possible is at the end of March, which is only 8 weeks away or 9 weeks away, which is yeah, awfully close really. Yeah, so heading back out there again today, like I said, grey and grey at the moment. Husband went off and went for a ridiculous trail run this morning with some friends, and now him and my youngest child have gone to support the first 15 rugby here. Youngest child's filming, as I've discussed he does most weekends, and yeah, oldest child got back has had a couple of weeks in Swindon and is back from that and is just recovering at home really. Yeah, just an ordinary weekend in the Galloping household. And yeah, I am in Cumnock, and I have just gone on for 13 minutes, and I sat in the car today and I thought, I really don't know what I'm going to talk about. So there you go. Sometimes you get just what comes out and what occurs, so I hope it was useful for you. Alright, have a great day wherever you are, and hopefully in the next day or two I will get these posted and up onto YouTube, because I am a little bit behind. It is what it is. Alright, love you lots, see you next time, bye.